Netanyahu orders Trump to attack Iran. With sinister glee, President Donald Trump announced on Saturday, February 28, 2026, a joint bombing campaign with Israel to destroy the Iranian regime and put in place an Iranian government that will bow down to Israel. Look at Trump, the buffoonish thug in a baseball cap, hiding his lying eyes, telling Americans that they must die for Israel in a war not approved by Congress, telling Americans that they must pay for another foreign war with blood and U.S. taxpayer money. Please listen.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission.
As usual, the United States of America, with their partner Israel, pretended to negotiate a deal with Iran while preparing to attack Iran with one purpose: regime change. According to Oman, which was the mediating country in the peace talks, on Friday, February 27th, peace was within reach and that they made a breakthrough. Listen to the foreign minister of Oman speaking to CBS News.
Is to ensure forever that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. I think we have cracked that problem through these negotiations by agreeing a very important breakthrough. Iran will never ever have a nuclear material that will create a bomb. This is, I think, a big achievement. This is something that is not in the old deal that was negotiated during President Obama's time. This is something completely new. It really makes the enrichment argument less relevant, because now we are talking about zero stockpile.
This war is not about Iran's nuclear program or ballistic missile program or Iran's alliance with regional resistance groups like Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah. This war is about assassinating the Iranian regime to put in a puppet government that will do Israel's bidding. And yes, on the first day of the war, Trump and Netanyahu began crowing and bragging that they had successfully assassinated Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and many senior government Iranian officials. But they neglected to tell you the downside of such a murderous and violent action. Number one, the supreme leader has now been martyred. This will rally the entire country to continue defending Iran with all of its might against the evil and wicked Israel and the United States of America. Number two, Iran has a constitution that provides clear steps that must be taken in the event of the death of their leader. Iran has always been prepared to fill any vacuum in their leadership. And number three, Iran has been tricked and lied to by the United States and Israel so many times that the death of their supreme leader will galvanize them to build a nuclear bomb for self-defense. In the same way, North Korea has kept its enemies at arm's length. The United States of America struts around the world, bullying and bragging that they have the greatest and most powerful military on earth. But let us look at America's military failures for the last 20 years. Please note that I'm leaving out America's humiliating defeat in Vietnam that occurred much earlier in the 1960s and the 1970s. Number one, Iraq. The United States carried out a major propaganda campaign convincing everyday Americans that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and that Iraq was a horrific threat to everyone, everywhere. The United States carried out a major bombing campaign, followed by U.S. troops on the ground. A regime change took place that cost trillions of dollars and thousands of U.S. deaths and hundreds of thousands of Iraqi deaths, and the country is still suffering. No one sees this as an American military win. Number two, Afghanistan. This was a similar regime change planned by the Americans, but with a UN Security Council resolution. This time, the United States decided to train an Afghan army. The United States spent trillions of dollars, and more U.S. soldiers died, all for nothing. After 20 years, the United States withdrew, and within 24 hours, the Taliban were back in charge. And the Americans looked very foolish in this regime change attempt. Number three, Libya. In Libya, the same playbook, but with twists. There was a United Nations Security Council resolution of responsibility to protect. So not exactly a regime change, but they tried a regime change with no boots on the ground. The Gaddafi regime was destroyed, but what was the result? More disaster followed in Libya with major divisions, violence, and never-ending chaos. And number four, Yemen. The mighty United States could not defeat Ansarallah, the Houthis, in March 2025. The Houthis said their attacks on commercial and military ships with potential Israeli links were aimed at pressuring Israel to stop the war in Gaza and stop murdering Palestinians. Because the United States was struggling against the Houthis, Trump declared victory and left a few weeks later. The United States and Israeli unprovoked attack on Iran is called a preemptive strike against Iran, targeting the Iranian government and military assets. This is a lie. The United States and Israel are constantly bragging about their mighty military and how moral and precise their actions are. So, on the first day of precision bombing of Iran, the United States and Israel managed to bomb a school in Minab, Iran, a school where little girls between the ages of 7 and 12 were attending class. Innocent little girls were targeted and murdered by the United States and Israel at this elementary school in Minab, and the number of deaths has reached 108. Minab, a southern town, is far from Tehran, with 73,000 residents. It is primarily an agricultural community. The school was located next to a naval base belonging to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. So I guess the mighty United States and Israeli missed their target. We already know how Israel excels at murdering innocent women and children. After all, they perfected their murder skills in Gaza, where they butchered at least 20,000 Palestinian children. This is a crime against humanity, and President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu shrug it off. They could care less about obeying international law or the death of little girls. My final thought, let us listen to Jeffrey Sachs, a renowned economist, author, and advocate for the Palestinian people, comment on what Trump has done. Let's listen.
So the U.S. has stepped into shit today, if I could put it bluntly, and we don't know what will transpire. Maybe they'll kill a lot of people in the next few days and declare a great success. Reportedly, they've killed 40 schoolgirls already in a bombing outside of Tehran. But there's no way that it can actually achieve strategic objectives in the long term. The United States itself is not stable enough to achieve that. Trump is a highly unpopular figure, of course, a profoundly polarizing figure. His approval rating will fall for sure in the coming months, though sometimes with an attack it blips up. I don't even think that will happen here because the American public was steadfastly against this. We're entering our own elections in November that Trump may try to subvert because he is openly talking about federalizing or nationalizing the elections, which would mean massive fraud. So this is a very unstable and a trigger or a fuse, to say it better, a fuse was lit that will have consequences of war in many regions of the world. Think of also Pakistan, a nuclear power in open war with Afghanistan right now. What does that mean? Where did that come from? What is the U.S. role in this? I would suspect the U.S. role is quite real in this, in fact. So I think that there is a lot that is very destabilizing in this, and the idea that this is a 12-day war and a new Iranian regime comes in that loves Israel and the United States is a fantasy.
Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. More next time. I'm Penny Lane. Thank you.